A man spends everything he has, fights demon kings, nearly dies a dozen times, sells 16 million in monster loot, all to buy the one cure that can make his paralyzed sister walk again. The doctor injects it. She should stand up immediately. She doesn't move. The cure doesn't work. And it gets so much worse from here. The night is wrong from the start. A team of espers gets sent into a monster barrier at night. Not because they're the best option, not because command has a plan. They're sent in because there's nobody else. The barrier is labeled Class F, supposedly the safest kind. Supposedly a milk run. Our guy is listed as a splitter. A carver. The guy who comes in after the real fighters do the work and dissects the monster corpses for usable materials. In a world where people measure worth by combat rank and kill count, being the one who cuts up the bodies afterward puts you somewhere below the bottom of the food chain. His teammates make sure he knows it. But here's the thing, and this is the part that changes everything. Soo-yun isn't what his rank says he is. He was reborn into this world. He lived through its fall once already. He watched humanity lose. He watched his sister, a gentle, wheelchair-bound girl named Shun, get left behind with everyone else when the monsters overran the city. That was his last life. This time, he came back with memory intact, with knowledge of what's coming, and with one ability nobody else in the world has: extract. While his teammates stand around complaining about their mission pay, Soo-yun gets to work on the wolf corpses. Quietly, efficiently, and every time his blade opens a carcass, the system triggers. Strength +1, speed +1, defense +1, knife skill +1. Every single dead monster is a resource. Every body on the ground is a stepping stone. His teammates notice his blade work has gotten smoother. They figure he's just naturally decent with a knife. He lets them think that. Then the barrier countdown doesn't trigger. Every wolf should be dead, but the count is still running. Something is still alive inside. And then it steps out of the shadows. A level 30 Wolf King. In a barrier that was supposed to cap at level 10. Soo-yun's blood runs cold, not from fear, but from recognition. In his past life, this never happened here. Something has already changed. The timeline is shifting. His team panics immediately. They can't run. If the Wolf King breaks through the barrier's edge, it hits the city. Thousands of civilians. His sister is out there somewhere, asleep in their apartment, trusting him to come home safe. They have to hold the line. Against something none of them can actually fight. The Wolf King moves like lightning. It's not even running at full speed yet, and it's already too fast to track with the naked eye. A teammate named SW steps forward to buy time. That's the last decision she ever makes. The Wolf King doesn't pause. Doesn't posture. It hits her in one motion and she's gone. Soo-yun watches it happen. He doesn't flinch, not because he doesn't feel it, but because grief is a luxury he cannot afford right now. He calculates instead. The wolf is too fast. His current speed cannot bridge the gap. He needs more. So he does something his teammates would find insane if they could see it clearly. He extracts from a wounded teammate mid-fight. The man is injured, barely conscious, slumped against a rock. And from his fading output, Soo-yun pulls speed +10 and something more, shadow step. A movement technique that lets the user blur across short distances in an instant. The difference is immediate. The world stops stuttering. The Wolf King's movements suddenly have readable gaps. Soo-yun activates Wolf King Bloodline, an ability extracted earlier from one of the wolf corpses, and for exactly 3 minutes, the transformation hits. Muscles expand. Senses detonate into clarity. He is no longer a carver standing in a field pretending to be useful. He is something else entirely. One strike. He finds the gap. He hits the weak point. The Wolf King goes down. The barrier collapses 10 minutes later. 2 survivors walk out. The Esper Association officer debriefs them. Soo-yun deflects every question about how a level 10 splitter survived a Wolf King encounter. The officer writes it up as luck. A nearby doctor examines Soo-yun afterward and notes something odd. Every other survivor has traces of the barrier's toxic aura in their system. Soo-yun has nothing. Not a trace. Could he be an anomaly? The doctor mutters, mostly to himself. Soo-yun is already walking out the door. He gets his cut of the materials, 1/10, as befitting a support role. He gets a pair of Stormwind boots with 40% agility enhancement. It's not much, but it's something. On the walk home, he runs the numbers. At current rates, he's months away from affording basic medicine upgrades for Shun. The elixir of life, The one cure that can regrow damaged nerves and restore function to her paralyzed legs. Costs 10 million dragon coins. Right now, he has maybe a few thousand. That number sits in his chest like a stone. He pushes the door open quietly. The apartment is small, warm. Shun is still awake, sitting in her wheelchair near the window, a half-folded shirt in her lap. She looks up and immediately starts apologizing. The laundry isn't done. She couldn't reach the machine properly from the chair. She's a burden. She's sorry. Soo-Yun crosses the room and stops her mid-sentence. You are not a burden, he says. You are my whole world. She goes quiet. He shows her the hairy cob he brought, an expensive premium food item that he absolutely cannot afford, purchased specifically because she mentioned it once in passing 3 weeks ago and assumed he'd forgotten. She immediately starts worrying about money. He waves it off. He laughs. He tells her his job is fine, his class is weak but steady, nothing to worry about. Internally, he makes a promise to himself that feels less like motivation and more like a loaded weapon pointed at every monster between him and that cure. Meanwhile, the association logs are filling up with a troubling pattern. Barriers are appearing more frequently across the city. Too many. Too often. Classes are escalating unexpectedly. Whatever is driving the invasions is accelerating. Soo-Yun notices. He files it away. He knows where this leads because he lived through the version where nobody stopped it in time. He is not going to let that happen again. The next morning he heads out to find a team. He gets rejected by every group at the gathering point. Too low level. Wrong class. Deadweight in a fight. One team captain tells him to get lost before he even finishes his sentence. Then a familiar voice cuts through the noise. Yong-Rong, an old classmate, a healer-type Esper with a calm face and iron resolve, waves him over. Her team immediately protests. A level 10 splitter? They'd be babysitting the whole run. They'd be slower. They'd be weaker. Yong-Rong doesn't raise her voice. She doesn't argue. She just says, this is my team. If you object, you can leave. Nobody leaves. They grumble. But nobody leaves. Soo-Yun joins the team. He doesn't tell them that the reason he picked this group isn't sentimental. It's strategic. The barriers he has access to with this team are exactly the caliber he needs to accelerate his growth without drawing too much attention. He needs to get stronger fast. He needs to do it without anyone noticing how strong he's actually getting. The first barrier they enter together is marked as D rank. Yong-Rong warns them that 3 teams have already failed here. Nobody finds that comforting. Soo-Yun walks in last. He's already done the math on what a D rank barrier with 3 team failures actually means. This is not a D rank barrier, and whatever is waiting inside is already watching them enter. The moment they step inside, something feels off. Experienced Espers develop a sense for barrier energy, a kind of pressure in the air that tells you how heavy the monster population is, how deep the threat runs. The D rank designation is supposed to feel like a light headache. This one feels like standing at the bottom of a staircase in the dark, knowing something is at the top, but not knowing how many steps there are. Soo-Yun keeps his mouth shut for now. He scans the environment and starts counting. Undead skeletons appear first. Basic, brittle, low tier, exactly what you'd expect from a D rank barrier. His teammates engage without much trouble. The skeletons are slow. They crumble under fire attacks. They're almost boring. Almost. Soo-Yun moves through the battlefield efficiently, extracting from each skeleton as it falls. SD +3. SD +3. Magic +3. He stacks quietly while everyone else focuses on the fight. Nobody's watching the splitter doing his carving work, which is exactly how he wants it. Then the bones start reforming. A skeleton king rises from the pile of fragments, massive, glowing with necrotic energy, surrounded by smaller skeletons that move in synchronized patterns. His teammates' expressions shift from confident to very focused very quickly. Soo-Yun handles this differently. He doesn't fight the skeleton king head-on. He extracts from its corpse while it's still mid-formation, pulling shadow power and immunity to undead aura before the thing even finishes assembling. The fight is hard but survivable. The skeleton king goes down. Then the barrier doesn't close. You know that feeling when a video game tells you the level is complete, but the music keeps playing? It's that, but worse. The barrier should have collapsed when the boss died. Instead, a second layer opens beneath the first. A double barrier. Soo-Yun has seen this before. In his past life, double barriers had a reputation. Get in, and you don't leave until every single monster inside is dead. There is no retreat option, no waiting it out, no calling for backup. Half his team immediately wants to exit, report to the Esper Association, and let higher-ranked groups handle it. The other half sees the loot. Double barriers drop rare materials at double rates. The amethysts they can already see littering the ground would sell for enormous amounts at the trading house. The argument happens fast and gets heated. The greedy faction wins. Suyun internally shakes his head but follows. He warned them. They didn't listen. That's the way of things. They descend into the second layer. The amethysts cover everything. Embedded in the walls, scattered across the floor, glittering in piles that catch the light beautifully. And almost immediately, his teammates start acting strange. One of them starts gathering crystals with both hands, stuffing them into his pack, muttering about prices and payouts. Another starts shouting that the first one is stealing. A third draws her weapon, not against a monster, against a teammate. Suyun reads the air and understands immediately. Curse illusion. The amethysts are the monster. Or rather, the monster is using the amethysts to create a hallucination of wealth so powerful it overrides rational thought and replaces it with greed-driven madness. He watches Shin, a teammate he's been working alongside all morning, raise a blade toward one of their own allies, eyes glazed and unfocused. And then the illusion catches Suyun too. For a brief, disorienting moment, he sees what they see: piles of treasure, the solution to every problem, his sister walking, the cure bought and paid for and already administered. It's seductive in a way that bypasses logic entirely and goes straight for everything that matters. Then it breaks. He pulls himself back through sheer willpower and a newly acquired ability, Inside Eye, which he barely managed to pull during the fight with the Skeleton King. The ability cuts through illusions. He sees clearly now. The amethysts are not crystals. They are cursed monster forms, dormant and feeding. He also sees that Lucia, a teammate currently charging at him with a blade, has completely lost herself to the curse. She is not going to stop. She cannot hear him. And if he doesn't stop her, she will kill him, and then move on to whoever is next. This is the hardest moment in the fight. Not because of the physical threat, Suyun can handle that, but because she's not an enemy. She's a person on his team who trusted him when she walked into this barrier, and she has no idea what she's doing. He kills her cleanly. One precise strike. From her death, something transfers, Ice Spike, and the insight ability deepens. He doesn't stop moving. He uses insight to identify the weak points on the back of each teammate's head, specific pressure nodes that, when struck at the right angle, break the curse's hold without causing serious injury. He moves through the group methodically, snapping them out of it one by one. They wake up disoriented and horrified. One of them realizes what almost happened and can't speak for 30 seconds. But the barrier still isn't done. Spirit monsters flood in next, ghost-type creatures that phase through physical obstacles, immune to most conventional attacks. They're incredibly tough, but they drop shadow crystals, which are among the rarest tradable items in the Esper market. Worth serious money. Suyun extracts from each one, Magic +3. He gains Magic Quest, a new skill that lets him sense magical density in the environment. He's building. Every fight, every extraction, every moment of danger is a deposit into an account that only he can see. His teammates immediately try to claim all the shadow crystals. He's just a splitter. Support role. Doesn't need rare drops. Yongrong steps in front of them. He stays. He gets his share. Nobody argues with her twice. Then the Ghost Mist King appears. Level 35. And the moment it enters the chamber, everyone feels it. The death aura the boss radiates doesn't just threaten them physically. It drains mana, suppresses skills, makes it nearly impossible to maintain a combat stance for more than a few seconds at a time. Team members start staggering just from proximity. The situation goes critical fast. They're low on mana from the skeleton fight and the illusion sequence. A full frontal assault against a level 35 boss right now is not just dangerous, it's suicidal. One of the teammates turns to Suyun, not because he trusts him, because there's nobody else. Go hold it off, he says, or I kill you right now. Suyun almost smiles. He steps forward and immediately notices something the others haven't. The death aura that's draining everyone else has no effect on him. His shadow power, extracted from the Skeleton King earlier, makes him functionally invisible to that kind of energy. He can move freely, breathe freely, fight freely. The Ghost Mist King doesn't understand it. It throws its most devastating attack, a soul drain that should hollow out a person in seconds, and Su Yun just absorbs it. The boss hesitates. That's the window. Wolf King Bloodline activates. Shadow Step. Giant Blade Slash. He tears into the Ghost Mist King with everything he's accumulated. And through the fight, he keeps extracting. Strength +7, +10, +9. The boss tries to flee into mist form. Shadow Stop freezes at mid-phase. The Ghost Mist King dies. Su Yun levels up to 15. He extracts its final gifts, Soul Power +50, and a new ability that makes every future fight against spiritual enemies look very different, Soul Devour. A technique that bypasses the body entirely and attacks the enemy's soul directly. His teammates stand in silence. The splitter just solo-killed a level 35 boss that had all of them frozen in terror. Yongrong is the first to move. She's congratulating him. Or she's trying to. She's also dealing with the early symptoms of necrotic infection from sustained exposure during the fight. She'll survive. Her healer constitution gives her an advantage most people don't have. But she's clearly going to need treatment. The association officer waiting outside asks how they made it out. Su Yun gives him the minimum possible version of events. The officer writes it up and moves on. A doctor examines Su Yun. Finds 0 traces of necrosis. 0 damage from the death aura. 0 anything really. A splitter untouched by necrosis, the doctor says quietly. Could he be an anomaly? Su Yun doesn't answer. He's already calculating the loot value in his head. Around 500,000 dragon coins, all told. A significant haul. And still 20 times less than what the elixir of life costs. He counts the gap between where he is and where he needs to be. It's enormous. He runs the timeline in his head. How long before the monster invasions escalate past the city's capacity to hold them? In his past life, the collapse came faster than anyone expected. He needs to move faster than that. Outside, the news feed is already updating. Multiple barriers across the city. Escalating class levels. A Class B designation appearing near the commercial district. Su Yun looks at the map. Looks at the barrier locations. Looks at the timestamps. He goes hunting. Most people see a Class C barrier with a wiped team inside and walk the other way. Su Yun sees an opportunity. He arrives before his team does, before anyone official has fully cordoned the zone. An association officer spots him immediately and blocks his path. Get out of here. You're a level 10 splitter. This place will kill you. Su Yun tells him he's going in to stop the monsters before they escape. He says it the same way he'd say he's going to get groceries. Calm. Certain. Already moving. The officer cannot stop what he doesn't physically grab. Inside the barrier, level 30 Sharkmen patrol in loose formations. These are not the mindless wolf types from the first mission. They're coordinated, they communicate, they adapt to threats. Against a standard C-rank team, they would be a brutal grind. Against Su Yun, they are a resource. He moves through the barriers systematically. Giant Blade Slash for the clusters, Fire Blast for the isolated targets. Extraction after every kill. The loot alone, before he finds the boss, comes out near 1 million dragon coins. Then the Sharkman Demon King arrives. Not a monster, a demonic entity. There is a categorical difference between a monster and a demon, and the moment this thing steps into view, Su Yun feels it. The intelligence in its eyes, the hierarchy it carries. It speaks. The demon god descends. It announces, like a proclamation. You think to stop me? It asks who killed the shark giant. Su Yun confirms, without hesitation, that it was him. The demon studies him. Beast transformation. Magic output. Both simultaneously. You are definitely a mutant. The fight that follows is the most intense thing Su Yun has encountered so far. The demon is fast, not just physically, but strategically. It reads his patterns, adjusts mid-exchange, uses terrain. He extracts through the entire fight, building his stat pool in real time. The demon is shocked when a technique fails. More shocked when Su Yun adapts around it. Final blow, spike assault, a technique pulled directly from the shark giant's corpse. The demon goes down, and then Su-yun finds it, buried inside the shark giant's body. A monster core. He stares at it for a long moment. Monster cores are among the rarest materials that exist. The value of the one in his hands exceeds everything he has earned across every prior run combined. The selling price on the open market, over 10 million dragon coins. He has been counting toward 10 million since the beginning. He counts now, 16 million in total, when he tallies every piece of loot from this run. The witnesses outside watch him walk out of a Class B threat zone alone, carrying materials they can't identify on sight. Later, the trading house staff see him walk in and assume he's a low-rank esper bringing in minor drops. They barely look up. He sets his full haul on the counter. The senior manager comes out personally. The transaction total comes out to 16 million dragon coins. He receives the Heavenly Dragon Supreme card, permanent 20% discount on all future trades. The staff who dismissed him are now falling over themselves to be helpful. He's already out the door. The hospital is clean and well lit, and everything about it feels expensive. Shun is in the treatment chair, small and quiet, her legs still under a blanket even though they're indoors. She holds Su-yun's hand the whole time. He doesn't tell her how much this cost or how long it took. 10 million dragon coins. The water of life. The doctor explains the procedure with quiet confidence. 1 injection. The formula works on cellular regeneration. It restores nerve function, repairs spinal damage, rebuilds tissue. The patient should feel sensation in her legs within minutes. Walking within the hour. The injection goes in. They wait. Shin's eyes are wide. She's trying to feel something. Trying to move a toe. Nothing. The doctor runs scans. Runs them again. His expression changes in a way that is not reassuring. He calls for a specialist. The specialist comes in and runs more equipment. The room gets crowded and quiet simultaneously. The diagnosis arrives with the weight of a stone wall collapsing. Shin has a 1 in 10,000 ice constitution. It is an incredibly rare physical trait where cold energy builds up inside the body from birth, gradually accumulating until it paralyzes the extremities. The water of life treats nerve damage. It cannot touch an energy problem. The cold energy is still there. The cure was targeting the wrong thing entirely. Su-yun sits in the chair next to her bed after the doctors have gone and says nothing for a while. Shin reaches over and puts her hand on his arm. She tells him it's okay. He tells her it is absolutely not okay, but that it will be. The only item that can clear an ice constitution and remove the accumulated cold energy entirely is the Crystal of Life. A legendary item. The kind of drop that doesn't come from standard barriers or even S-rank monsters. It drops from Demon Kings. Specifically the kind of Demon King that exists only inside the Divine Realm. A sealed ancient barrier that opens once a year and houses the most dangerous entities known to exist. The goal just moved somewhere that 10 million dragon coins cannot reach. And then Captain Wang Yen walks into Su-yun's life. Wang Yen is the Fire Sovereign, a divine ability user. The kind of person who represents the absolute ceiling of what human espers can achieve. And he's been watching Su-yun for a while. He lays out what he's observed. Every barrier Su-yun enters results in other team members dying or getting critically injured. Su-yun walks out untouched every time. Listed rank, F. Observable output, something else entirely. Wang Yin uses his inside eye. He reads Su-yun's magical energy level. 999. Maximum reading. The equipment can't go higher. He cannot read a single one of Su-yun's abilities. He makes the offer, join the Divine Legion. Su-yun listens. He doesn't show what he's thinking. Internally, the calculation runs in about 2 seconds. The Divine Legion is the only organization with consistent access to the Divine Realm. The Divine Realm is the only place a Crystal of Life can be obtained. Joining the Divine Legion costs him nothing except his anonymity, which he was already losing. He says yes. The Divine Legion provides Shun with a private medical villa and assigns her Jiaoya, an SS-rank divine healer who examines Shun immediately, confirms the ice constitution diagnosis, and gives her something the water of life couldn't. A level 50 fire monster crystal, used to temporarily counteract the cold buildup. It doesn't cure her, but for the first time since the paralysis began, Shun can feel warmth in her legs. She doesn't walk yet, but she feels something. Su Yun watches his sister's face when the warmth hits and files the image somewhere he doesn't let himself look at during fights. Meanwhile, at the highest levels of the Divine Legion, things are already moving in ways that nobody is telling him about. The barrier situation across the city has been escalating in patterns that suggest coordinated escalation, not random monster aggression. Captain Shell, described across the Divine Legion as humanity's unbreakable shield, the most defensive fighter ever recorded, has gone silent. The reports aren't saying he's dead yet, but the silence is saying it for them. And somewhere in the upper command structure of humanity's most elite fighting force, a man named Black Flame is already making his plans. The Divine Legion's training base is not what Su Yun expected. He expected competence. He gets competence. He expected power. He gets power in quantities that would have seemed impossible 6 months ago. But what he didn't expect is the atmosphere, the particular tension that comes from an organization that has been winning wars against monsters for generations and is starting to quietly suspect that something is going wrong at the core. Power tests are run for new members. Wang Yin steps up first. As a benchmark, his readings are already in the divine range, and the other members treat him with the kind of deference that comes from a record nobody has broken in years. Then Su Yin steps up. The meter runs to its limit and stops. Not because the reading is complete, because the equipment has no higher number. The room goes quiet in a different way than it did for Wang Yin. One member says it must be a malfunction. The operator confirms the equipment is functioning perfectly. Nobody says anything else out loud. But the looks that pass around the room carry a message that Su Yun reads clearly. He is no longer invisible. He files this away and doesn't react. Then a crisis hits before he has time to settle in. An S-class monster barrier materializes around a nursing home in the city's civilian quarter. Not a factory district. Not a commercial zone. A building full of elderly civilians. The entire Divine Legion mobilizes. Inside the barrier, A-rank monsters move in numbers that would overwhelm standard teams easily. Su Yun fights alongside divine-level warriors for the first time and extracts through every engagement. Strength plus 10, magic energy plus 10, grasping shade. He watches the divine-level fighters work and calibrates his own output, careful not to show anything he doesn't need to show. Then a demon king enters the barrier. Not a high-level monster. A demon king. A being with demonic intelligence, divine-level combat capacity, and an agenda. Wang Yin engages it. Wang Yin, the Fire Sovereign, the man who read Su Yun's power level and immediately knew something extraordinary was standing in front of him, the man who fast-tracked Su Yun into the Divine Legion personally, is dead before Su Yun can cross the distance. One strike. The Demon King doesn't seem inconvenienced. The barrier atmosphere shifts into something colder. The other Legion members have been fighting A-rank monsters. They are not prepared for this. The Demon King surveys the room and asks, in the particular way that demons ask things, who killed the shark giant? Su-yin steps forward. He confirms it was him. The battle that follows is the most complex fight Su-yin has run to date. The Demon King is faster than him in raw speed, or it is, until Su-yin extracts from fallen allies mid-battle, building his stat pool in real time. Strength +7, +10, +9. He learns Giant Blade Slash in a new form from one extraction. Flame Cannon from another. Wolf King Bloodline activates. The Demon King's confusion is visible. A being with beast transformation and magic and divine combat output simultaneously doesn't fit any existing category. Su-yin hits it with Soul Devour, attacking the demon's soul directly, bypassing its physical defenses. The Demon King dies. Extract from the Bloodthirsty Demon King. Strength +50. He gains Blood Devour. He checks the corpse carefully. No life crystal. This one is below level 50. Only level 50 and above carry them consistently. He needs to go deeper. Meanwhile, the report arrives from the parallel operation that was running while the nursing home crisis played out. 13 divine adepts were sent to Dragon God Island. Only 2 returned. Captain Shell, the unbreakable shield, is among the dead. The divine hierarchy absorbs this. The members of Squad 7, who trained under Shell and consider his legacy the foundation of their identity, absorb it differently. The grief is not performed. It is genuine and heavy and sits over the whole base like a weather system. And then Black Flame arrives. Captain of Squad 1, Divine Legion's first and most prestigious squad. His entrance carries the weight of someone who has been given authority and knows exactly how to use it as a weapon. He announces that Squad 7 is to be disbanded and merged into the remaining 6 squads, ordered by the Heavenly God, King himself. There is no appeal process. Squad 7 refuses. Shell's legacy. Shell's team. They would rather disband entirely on their own terms than absorb into someone else's structure. Black Flame points out, with the patience of someone who knows he's already won, that without Shell's absolute defense capability, Squad 7 is tactically compromised regardless. What he actually wants, and makes no real effort to conceal, are their trial entry slots for the Divine Realm. Entry is limited. Squad 7 slots are valuable. Su-yin watches him, listens to him, and detects something that nobody else in the room seems to notice. A monster's aura. Not obvious. Not the kind of thing that trips standard detection skills. But Su-yin has extracted from dozens of monsters and demon types at this point. He knows the specific textural signature of demonic energy, and there is a trace of it on Black Flame that has no business being on a human. He doesn't say anything yet. He doesn't have enough. But in his memory of his past life, a question crystallizes into something that feels suddenly obvious. Was the city's fall not just monster aggression? Was there betrayal inside the ranks? He watches Black Flame leave. He starts building a theory. 10 days before the Divine Realm opens, Su-yin is sent to Dragon God Island to accelerate his development. The island has become saturated with monsters following the Demon King's departure. It's also being used as a selection trial. Other espers are there competing for Divine Legion positions. One of them is Leben, Fire-type esper, confident, well-connected, burning with the particular arrogance of someone whose brother holds a senior position in the Divine Army. Leben and his group dismiss Su-yin immediately. Wrong class. Wrong level display. Wrong everything. Su-yin doesn't correct them. He just waits for the island to give him something worth extracting. He doesn't wait long. The Frost Flame Giant appears, a dual-element boss formed from 2 demon types that have fused into a single massive frame. It shifts freely between fire and ice, absorbs elemental attacks of its matching type, and grows stronger from them. Leben fires his most powerful technique, Fire Dragon, into it. The giant absorbs all of it and doubles in threat level. Su-yin watches this happen and identifies the structural flaw. The giant's internal framework is being stressed by constantly shifting between 2 opposing elemental states. Every switch is a microfracture. He tells Leben to fire again. At the back, Leben's expression cycles through confusion, dismissal, and reluctant compliance in about 4 seconds. He fires. The absorbed energy plus the new input plus the precise targeting of the structural weak point causes a cascade failure from inside the giant's own body. It destroys itself with its own power. The group is silent for a moment. Then they fight over the drop. The giant drops what looks like a life crystal. Green glow. Perfect shape. Exactly what a life crystal looks like in every field guide ever written. 3 members of the group are already calculating its market value and arguing over split percentages before it fully materializes. Suyin looks at it. The glow is wrong. The life crystal emits a specific shade of green, warm, organic, the color of something alive. This one is emitting dark energy. Subtle. Easy to miss if you're excited and greedy. But it's there. That's not a life crystal, he says. He gets exactly the reaction you'd expect. Dismissal. Accusations that he wants it for himself. The argument escalates immediately. Za, one of the group members who had been neutral up to this point, reaches out and touches the crystal. The transformation begins instantly. Dark energy floods his system. His eyes change. The veins around his neck blacken. He stops being Za and starts becoming something that has Za's face and a demon's operating system. The others immediately reach for weapons. Suyin steps between them. He reminds them, clearly and without particular emotion, that Za is still in there. That the corruption is external, an overlay, not a replacement. That Za survived the Frost Flame Giant because Su Yun made the tactical call that saved everyone, and Za deserves the same chance. The others are not moved by this. They are moved by the fact that Su Yun is blocking them and looks extremely confident doing so. He extracts the dark energy from Za directly, pulling the corruption out of his system the same way he pulls stats from monster corpses. It hurts. It requires full concentration. Za screams. And then it's over. Za collapses, human again. The dark energy that Su Yun extracted condenses in the air around him. And then it doesn't dissipate. Instead it settles. It takes form. It becomes armor. Dark God power armor. The group goes completely still. Even the ones who disliked Su Yun go still. Because everyone standing on Dragon God Island, everyone who aspires to divine-level combat, knows what this armor is. Dark God power armor is the rarest divine class armor in recorded history. The list of people who have ever worn it is extremely short. Lord Hitching is on that list. And somewhere else on that list, whispered but never confirmed directly, is a name that sits alongside Black Flame's reputation. Su Yun acquired it by accident, by choosing to save someone when everyone else wanted to execute him. He doesn't have long to process this. Leben, who has been watching all of this with a particular kind of bitterness that comes from being outstratified by someone you dismissed, goes to work quietly. He contacts his brother, gets information about the island's monster situation, and then passes Su Yun a set of coordinates labeled as the safest hunting ground, an area where the monsters were supposedly relocated away from. Su Yun takes the information and heads out. He arrives at the location and immediately realizes what Leben did. The monsters were never relocated. They were never cleared. The area is a flood zone, 100,000 monsters, minimum, concentrated in the exact area that Leben just sent him into. The flood erupts. The entire group is caught in it. They run. The only safe point anywhere near their position is a sacred mountain, an ancient structure radiating a divine aura powerful enough that even high-level monsters refuse to approach it. The group climbs. The monsters stop at the base. They're safe. Temporarily. Su Yun doesn't stay on the mountain. He goes back down into the flood alone. Lord Dia, the demon lord embedded on Dragon God Island, an entity that has been observing Su Yun since his arrival, watches this from a distance with the expression of someone reviewing a threat assessment and revising it upward significantly. He has already lost a non-trivial number of his forces to Su Yun's hunting in the previous days. He received specific instructions from Black Flame not to let Su Yun reach the sacred mountain. He failed that assignment. His superiors have given him a secondary instruction. Do not reveal the demon presence before the divine realm opens. The demon forces are coordinating around a timeline. Dia does not personally engage. But he watches. Suyin hunts for 7 straight days. Magic plus 50. Strength plus 30. Over 100 monsters killed. He brings back premium monster meat to the group on the mountain between runs. Rare food that boosts both physical and magical stats. The kind of thing you'd spend weeks of normal income to purchase at market price. He just carries it up the mountain in bundles like he went to the grocery store. Then he notices something. The remaining monsters have changed their movement patterns. They're no longer hunting randomly. They're grouping, coordinating, moving in synchronized columns with clear tactical intent. Something is commanding them. Demon General Rene appears. Seahorse class. High ranking in the demon military hierarchy. He knows Su Yun by name. Calls him the one who killed the shark giant. Seems amused by the idea that this continues to be a problem. The fight begins. Su Yun runs the scorpion blood toxin, an ability he extracted from a scorpion-type monster 3 days earlier during his solo hunting. He applied a trace dose during Rene's opening attack, silent and undetectable. He let the fight run. Rene is powerful. Level 39. The tactical command of a military general combined with high-tier water magic. He should be winning. He starts slowing. He notices his own muscles aren't responding normally. His magic output is dropping. He doesn't understand why. The toxin has been working the entire fight. Suyin reaches level 39 himself during the battle. Rene stares at him. Suyin kills him. Extract. Water magic plus 100. He gains drowning strength. Lord Dia, watching from cover, finally admits to himself that this human boy now operates at near-divine level combat output. He has killed a demon general without taking visible damage. He is wearing dark god power armor. He is still growing. Dia wants to act. His orders say no. He stands down. But the calculation is clear. If Su Yun reaches the divine realm, the demon timeline is in serious danger. On day 10, Divine Legion rescuers arrive. Wang Yin himself leads the extraction team. He is not there for Leban's group. He is there for Su Yun specifically. When he can't read Su Yun's level anymore, because Su Yun's output has already surpassed Wang Yin's own, he says nothing, just notes it. Leban's group finds out that Su Yun has equal rank to Leban's brother in the Divine Legion. The arrogance crumbles fairly quickly after that. Su Yun returns to the villa. Shin is waiting for him. When he walks through the door, she stands up. Not fully, not without effort, but she takes several steps toward him before stopping. Her face a mixture of concentration and disbelief, and something that looks like she's trying very hard not to cry in front of him. She's walking. A little. Imperfectly. With the fire crystal's temporary heat offsetting enough of the cold buildup to allow movement. Suyin watches her take those steps. He doesn't say anything for a moment. Then he tells her he's heading into the divine realm soon. That there are life crystals inside. That when he comes back, she won't need the wheelchair anymore. She sits back down carefully and tells him to be safe. He tells her he will. He is already planning which demon kings inside the realm he's going to extract from first. The next morning, the Divine Legion assembles in front of the Hall of War Gods. The Sacred Energy Realm is an 800-year-old demonic barrier, sealed by the sacrifice of ancient psychics. It is permanent, unlike standard barriers, which fade after the monsters die. The monsters inside it are minimum level 40. If they broke free, the city would fall. The realm opens once a year, specifically to allow squads to thin the monster population and claim divine tier rewards, armor, weapons, and occasionally, if the right bosses are killed, life crystals. Black Flame arrives. He confronts Su Yun directly about the dark god power armor. His argument is that the armor belongs to the Legion's elite, that a new recruit holding it is inappropriate, that there is a formal process for such things. What he actually means is, give it to me. Wang Yin steps physically between them. He doesn't say much. He doesn't need to. Then the heavenly god king arrives. His aura alone is enough to make every person in the assembly straighten without being asked. This is the highest authority in human society's military structure. For divine kings exist. He is one of them. He announces a rule change. Every squad must kill 3 demon kings inside the realm, up from 1. The outer zone can drop divine armor. The deep zones drop life crystals. The forbidden zone has never been survived except by the 4 divine kings themselves. He looks at them all with the calm of someone who has already made a decision that he knows will cost them. Suyin looks at him and files the expression away. The sacred energy realm opens in a flash of ancient light. The entry is not controlled. The scattering is random. Every squad member lands in a different zone, separated from their teams by the spatial mechanics of the barrier. It is deliberately designed this way, allegedly to prevent concentrated power from overwhelming the inner zones too quickly. Su-Yun lands in the desert zone, near the outer boundary of the Forbidden Ground. His level is already over 40 after Dragon God Island. His stat pool is beyond what most divine-level fighters achieve after years of cultivation. He is wearing Dark God power armor. He has a catalog of stolen abilities that would take 3 lifetimes to develop normally. He starts hunting immediately. Scorpion monsters in the desert zone. He extracts, gains scorpion blood toxin at an enhanced level, able to apply it at range now. He notes the zone's density, demon kings at level 50 and above. He needs at least one for a life crystal. He finds a barrier gate, an energy-sealed entrance to a deeper zone, guarded by what appears to be a demon king of considerable power. Another Esper, a fighter named Run, is already there with her brother, a level 45 divine fighter. They've staked a claim on the gate. Ren's brother attacks the demon king directly. He's dead before he completes his first technique. One strike. The demon king didn't even move into a combat stance. Ren screams, goes in herself, gets overwhelmed in seconds. Su-Yun pulls her out of the exchange before the finishing blow connects. The Demon King is in a different category from anything the desert zone should contain. It moves faster than Su-Yun's current tracking can follow cleanly. Its strikes carry weight that bypasses standard defensive techniques. Other Espers arrive, drawn by the confrontation. A coordinated multi-group assault forms, 7 or 8 fighters attacking simultaneously from different angles. They're giving everything. None of it lands cleanly. The Demon King deflects, absorbs, redirects. It is not concerned. Su-Yun has been watching the entire time. During the chaos of the combined assault, he applied the scorpion blood toxin in the opening exchange, a trace dose, indetectable, already working. He has been letting the fight run while the toxin builds in the Demon King's system. Every second of combat it's been in, the demon has been getting slower and slower in increments too small to notice consciously. Until now, Su-Yun moves. The Demon King reacts, but 0.3 of a second slower than it should be. The gap is tiny. The strike lands. The Demon King bleeds. It stops. It looks at Su-Yun with something that takes a moment to identify as genuine interest. No one, it says, has ever drawn my blood before. The fight shifts completely. The Demon King is no longer clearing the room casually. It is engaged. The other Espers around Su-Yun, who were largely ineffective against it, notice the Demon King is now focused entirely on one person. A person wearing armor they mostly recognize. A person whose level readout on their assessment skills returns an error. And then Wang Yin appears. Wang Yin, the Fire Sovereign, the man who recruited Su-Yun into the Legion, the most powerful human ally in his current circle, arrives in the desert zone and immediately joins the engagement. Together, Su-Yun and Wang Yin push the Demon King back. The toxin continues its work. The Demon King is bleeding. It is losing ground. I bet you didn't see this coming. Black Flame appears, not fighting the Demon King, standing behind Wang Yin. He speaks calmly. He explains, in the tone of someone reading a legal document, that when he touched Wang Yin's armor at the base earlier, the confrontation over the trial slots, he bound Wang Yin's soul in that moment. A technique that can be applied in a single touch without detection. Wang Yin has been a puppet since before they entered the realm. Su-Yun turns to Wang Yin. Captain Wang, you betrayed humanity? Black Flame answers for him. Betrayal? His soul was already mine from the moment I touched his armor. I am only inevitability. Wang Yin turns and attacks Su-Yun. The full weight of a divine-level fighter, someone who trained Su-Yun, vouched for him, protected him in the base when Black Flame tried to take his armor, swings at him with complete intent to kill. Su-Yun doesn't fight back against Wang Yin. He defends. He moves. He tries to reach something in Wang Yin's expression that might still be him underneath the control. Black Flame is already moving on everyone else. He has confirmed. He killed Captain Shell, the unbreakable shield, humanity's greatest defensive fighter. He killed him before the story's present timeline, from inside, using the same soul-binding technique. Black Flame is not as strong as Wang Yin in raw combat stats. but his speed is in a completely different category. Su Yun cannot see his strikes initially. The blade catches him. Twice. 3 times. He extracts through the pain, strength, defense, and starts closing the gap. Another Esper joins Su Yun's side. Together, they pressure Black Flame enough that he cannot deliver a finishing blow. Su Yun applies Scorpion Blood Toxin to Black Flame during an exchange. Silent. Already building. The Demon King watches all of this with undisguised fascination. At some point in the chaos, it has arrived at the same side of the conflict as Black Flame. Both of them want everyone in this zone dead and the Demon God Seal broken. The Demon King addresses Su Yun directly. Even with the armor, you cannot match me yet. And yes, it gets worse. Because while all of this is happening inside the desert zone, something is happening outside the realm entirely. The Heavenly God King raises his hand. He speaks the activation words for an eternal seal. The sacred energy realm closes. Not the way barriers normally close, not gradually, not with a countdown. It seals permanently. Every entrance point, every exit corridor, every spatial gap that connects the realm to the outside world shuts simultaneously. Reports begin flooding in across the city's communication network. The divine adepts are gone. Sealed inside. No extraction. No extraction team. No rescue mission that anyone currently living has the power to execute. And the Heavenly God King, standing outside a permanently sealed realm containing every significant human military asset, announces the reason in a voice that carries no visible regret. 3 of the 4 divine kings are dead. The Thunder King, the Holy Light King, the Vajra King, all gone. The demon god has risen. The divine adept's mission to contain the demon forces inside the realm has failed. The Heavenly God King has sealed everyone inside as a final containment measure, sacrificing his own soldiers to ensure the demon forces cannot use the realm as a launch point into the outside world. He says he trained them himself. He says he grieves for them. He seals the door anyway. Inside the realm, the screaming starts. Members of Squad 7, people who survived Dragon God Island, who fought through barrier after barrier, who carried Shell's memory as their reason for continuing, understand what has just happened to them. They pound against the barrier walls that aren't there to pound against. The seal is not a wall. It is an absence. There is simply nowhere to go. Su Yun does not panic. He has been in this kind of situation before. Not this exact situation, but the category of it. A closed room with no exit and monsters on every side. He has operated in that environment more times than he can count. He does not stop moving. He assesses. He hunts. He extracts. The desert zone's demon kings are still present, still carrying life crystals at level 50 and above. His sister cannot walk permanently yet. The crystal of life is still in here. The goal has not changed. The path has just gotten more complicated. He is going deeper into the forbidden ground. Su Yun fights. That's the constant in all of this. Everything else changes. The location, the enemies, the number of people trying to kill him simultaneously, but he keeps moving and he keeps extracting and he keeps getting stronger. The Desert Zone Demon Kings at level 50 don't see him coming the same way their predecessors did. His reputation inside the realm has already spread in whatever way information travels between demonic entities. They know what he's wearing. They know what he's taken from being stronger than them. Some of them fight harder because of it. Some of them, briefly, seem uncertain. He extracts from all of them. Black Flame is a larger problem. The soul binding on Wang Yin means that every time Su Yun is in contact with Wang Yin, trying to reason with him, trying to find a way to break the technique, Wang Yin is actively trying to kill him. A divine-level fighter with full combat intent is not something Su Yun can simply absorb hits from indefinitely, even with the Dark God power armor absorbing the worst of it. But the scorpion blood toxin he applied to Black Flame is building. Su Yun manages the situation the way he manages everything, by being in several places in the information flow at once. He's watching Black Flame's movement speed decrease in increments that Black Flame himself hasn't consciously clocked yet. He's watching the Demon King track the entire conflict from a position that suggests it is waiting for a specific moment rather than just clearing the field. He's watching Wang Yin's face for any gap in the control, any window where the person who recruited him might still be accessible. The other espers in the zone have largely grouped around Su Yun by this point, not because they've decided to follow him, but because he is the only thing in the desert zone that consistently survives contact with both Black Flame and the Demon King, and proximity to something that survives is its own kind of logic. The fight against the Barrier Gate Demon King resumes in full. With the Scorpion Blood Toxin doing its accumulated work, Su Yun can land strikes more consistently. The Demon King absorbs them better than anything he's fought before. Its defensive capacity is extraordinary, but it is no longer fully untouchable. Each exchange costs it something. Each extraction Su Yun runs during the fight brings his stats closer to its range. Then the Scorpion Blood Toxin hits Black Flame's combat output at a level he can no longer compensate for. Black Flame slows. Visibly. He knows immediately that something has been done to him. He's a high-level fighter with enough tactical awareness to recognize the signature of a persistent toxin, but he cannot identify the source cleanly enough to treat it. Su Yun presses the advantage. The other Esper fighting alongside him adds coordinated pressure. Black Flame is not eliminated, but he is no longer dictating the terms of every exchange. And through all of this, Wang Yin is watching. Not because the soul binding has broken. It hasn't. But there are moments, brief, fragile, uncertain, where something flickers behind his eyes that looks like awareness. Like the person under the control is still in there, watching what his own hands are doing and hating it. Su Yun sees it. He keeps creating those moments deliberately. He does not know if there is a way to break the binding. He does not know if the person he respected is salvageable from the technique Black Flame used. But he keeps creating the conditions where that person might find a window. The Demon King watches Su Yun do this, and it seems to find it interesting in a way that has nothing to do with the fight. The combat reaches a kind of plateau. Su Yun and his allies can prevent Black Flame from executing his plan, can keep the Demon King engaged enough that it hasn't cleared the zone, but cannot finish either of them in their current state. The Forbidden Zone looms at the edge of the desert, where the life crystals he needs for Shun are most likely concentrated. He is preparing to push toward it. The Demon King stops fighting. Not retreating. Not repositioning. It simply stops, mid-combat, and looks at Su Yun. The entire zone notices. When the most powerful entity in the area goes still, everything else goes still around it. The Demon King says, "Think having the armor means you can save her?" Su Yun freezes. The noise of the ongoing battle around him, the exchanges between Black Flame's diminished allies and the other Espers, the residual combat noise from the earlier engagement, all of it becomes background. The Demon King has not mentioned an ability. It has not named a place. It has named his sister. "What did you do to my sister?" The Demon King does not answer immediately. It watches him. It reads his reaction with the patience of something that has been waiting for this moment specifically. The connection is obvious and devastating once he sees it. Dragon God Island. Lord Jia watching him hunt for 10 days. Jia receiving instructions from Black Flame. Black Flame connected to the Demon God's network. The Demon God's forces knowing about Shun through any one of a dozen channels. The medical villa is publicly affiliated with the Divine Legion. Her ice constitution was diagnosed by a healer with Legion credentials. Her name is attached to Su Yun's profile in the organization's records. They have had access to that information since before he entered the realm. The question that is now sitting in the desert zone of an eternally sealed barrier, surrounded by dead teammates and a soul-enslaved ally, and a traitor soaked in toxin, and a Demon King that is more interested in him than in winning a fight, is what they've done with it. Is Shun alive? Is she in the villa, protected by the Legion's civilian protocols that may or may not mean anything with the realm sealed, and the 3 Divine Kings dead? Is she a hostage? Is her ice constitution, the 1 in 10,000 awakening that the doctor said would eventually reach SSS rank, the real target? Su Yun has spent the entire story being the most prepared person in every room he's walked into. He lived through the fall once. He came back with knowledge. He built toward this with every extraction, every fight, every quiet calculation. He has no information about this. He does not know what happened to Shun after the realm sealed. He cannot call out. He cannot send anyone to check. The seal is permanent. The Demon King is watching him process all of this in real time. Whatever the Demon King has done or knows or is about to offer, whether it's leverage or a genuine threat or a manipulation, Su Yun is standing in the worst possible position to respond to it. The one thing he has been protecting against every possibility this entire time has just been directly referenced by the most dangerous entity in his immediate environment. He does not collapse. He does not beg. He does not make promises. He stands in the desert zone with dark god power armor condensed around him, in a level that exceeds divine range fighters, and a catalog of abilities that would have seemed impossible to a man dissecting wolf corpses in a Class F barrier a relatively short time ago. And he understands that the next moment, whatever the Demon King says next, whatever is or isn't happening to Shun in the outside world, whatever combination of Black Flame and the Barrier Gate Demon and the Forbidden Zone lies between him and the Crystal of Life, is going to require everything he has. He began this story as the man who came back, the one who remembered losing, the one who decided that this time would be different. The demon forces have been building toward this moment since before he was reborn. The betrayal at the heart of humanity's military has been in place since before Captain Shell died. The demon god's rise has been coordinated across demon generals, demon lords, soulbound traders, and ancient sealed barriers for longer than the story's present timeline can fully account for. And Su Yun, the man with the weak class designation and the sister in the wheelchair and the 16 million spent on a cure that didn't work, is the only person standing in the desert zone of an eternal seal who has been in this kind of position before. He lost once. He remembers what it cost. He lifts his eyes to the Demon King. And the story cuts here, at maximum tension, with every unresolved thread pulled tight, with Shun's fate unknown and the Crystal of Life still unclaimed, and Wang Yin still enslaved, and Black Flame still breathing, and the heavenly god king standing outside a sealed door with a grief he claims to feel and a lock he chose to throw anyway. Everything that Su Yun has fought for is still in front of him, and he is not done yet. If that ending hit you the way it hit me, drop a comment about what you think happened to Shun. Like and subscribe so you catch the continuation when it drops.